Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through some of the problems on 17E. First one we're going to take a look at here is number 1. Find the center and radius of the largest empty circle for these sets of sites. So really on this, all we need to do is just find the distance from the vertex, since there's only one, to any one of these three sites. So I'm just going to find the distance between this vertex here and say site A, so that if I make a nice little right triangle, or you can use the distance formula, but I like the right triangle thing. I feel like a squared plus b squared equals c squared is a little bit easier to remember. So there's our right angle, so we know that it's going to be 2 squared plus 3 squared equals we'll say d for distance squared, right? So 4 plus 9 is our distance squared. 13 is distance squared, so we square root both of those and get distance equals the square root of 13, which is, if we get into a decimal, 3.61 we'll call it. 3.6, and it doesn't say what any of the, say what the units is, so we'll say 3.61 units. You can leave it as a square root of 13, that's fine too, but I can understand what 3.61 is a little bit better than square root of 13. So anyway, that's that. Let's take a look at number 6. Consider the sites A, B, C, and D. Construct a Voronoi diagram for these sites. So first thing, get these things in here, and it's going to be super important to get these in correctly, because if you mess up one site, it's going to make it so you have to go back and recalculate a bunch of stuff, so we don't want to do that. So -2 and 7. So that's all these solid dots here are, sorry, the solid lines there, that's 5. So this is site A. B is at 4 and 7. So that's B. C is at 6 and 3. So that's C, and then D is at -2, -5 right here. So that's D. Okay, so first thing we've got these points on here. Now let's start constructing our lines here. So I'm looking at A and B. That's a pretty nice one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Half of 6 is 3, so we go 1, 2, 3. There's our midpoint. Since that's a horizontal line, this is going to have to be a vertical line. Feeling pretty confident it's not going to go really much past that, but I'll just go a little farther just in case. Okay, so there's A and B. A and D should also be a nice one, because those are on the same vertical line. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Half of 12 is 6, right? So that's up 5. Plus another is 6. There's our midpoint, so we know the lines have got to go through that. And since the original one's vertical, this one's going to be horizontal. I know I shouldn't have to cross any lines, so I know there's going to be a vertex right there. So I'm then going to go back and erase that part of the line, because I know I won't need that. I can erase them all at the end too. That would work fine. But I'm just doing it now since I'm thinking of it. Let's see, B and C looks like it's not too bad. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 2. So down 4 over 2. Half of that is down 2 over 1. There's the middle. So our slope is down 2 over 1. So our perpendicular will then be, flip that over, and it's up 1 over 2. Since that was negative, this is now positive. So up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and then we can draw ourselves a nice line that goes right through there, and look, it's going to hit right there. So I know I don't need to go any farther than that. Doesn't look like there's anything I need to erase over here yet, so we'll leave that, and then we'll make C to D. Okay, so let's see. I always like to start left and go to the right. So from D we go up 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 and 8. So that means it's going to go up 4 over 4. So there's our middle. All right. And so since it's up 8 over 8, that's just 1, right? So the perpendicular then would be -1. So we're just going to go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, so forth and so on. We also can go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So there's our other vertex spot right there, right? So we get this going on right like so. Okay, so now we get this little interesting spot in here, which basically means if we were to find the midpoint of AC, it's going to end up, here's what's going to happen. It's going to connect these two vertices right here. Okay, so when you get this wonky little thing here, you know that like between this vertice and this vertice, it's not going to do this little goofy 2 turns thing here. It's just going to go through and it's just going to connect straight across. You can go through and double check it by drawing A to C, drawing the line on there, and then we can erase that. So, but you can take this nice little quick route and just cut that off. But I'm just going to show you really quick how that's going to work. So if we draw, I'm going to even do this in red just so you can see it a little bit better. So A to C is down 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So down 4 over 8. Half of that is down 2 over 4, which is -1/2. So down 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? That's the midpoint. And then so since our slope is -1/2, our perpendicular then will be +2, right? Because it's 2 over 1. It's changed from negative to positive. So we go up 2 over 1. That's not going to help us, so we want to go down 2 over 1. Look, hits there. Down 2 over 1, hits there. So we end up getting that is really the only part that we're going to need to connect is just those two, right? And then that's why we would erase this part right in here. So then there's our Voronoi diagram. Okay, so we have now constructed our Voronoi diagram for these sites. Use your diagram to find the coordinates of the vertices. So that's this here. So one of the vertices for part B here is going to be at what, 1, 3. The other one's going to be at 0, 1. Okay, so those are our two vertices. Find the center and radius of the largest empty circle. Okay, so to find the largest empty circle, we'd have to figure out what's farther, the distance from, say, here to A, B, and C, because those are all going to be the same, and obviously won't be it'll be farther to D. So basically we're saying what's farther from here to here. Let's do that maybe in a different color. So is it going to be, so it's either going to have this radius, or this here is actually the center of D, C, and A. So which one's going to be larger, that one or this one? Hopefully you can look at that and figure out that this second line here is definitely going to be the longer of the two. So you could go through and calculate them both, but if you can definitely tell one is bigger than the other, then we can simply just make ourselves a little right triangle to go through and calculate this out, right? So I'll do that. Keep changing colors on you. So we'll go do a little lavender here, there, and there. Maybe I'll make it a little darker so it's easier to see. So make ourselves a little right triangle here, right? That's 2, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So to find that distance here, this green, this D right here, we will do 2 squared plus 6 squared equals our distance squared. So that's 4 plus 36 is the distance squared. So distance squared is 40. So really the distance could be square root of 40. That's fine for the back of the book. I want to know what it actually is, so I would just do square root 40, and I get 6.32, which I like a little bit better than square root of 40, but either one of those will work. Okay? All right, that's all we have for the 17E worked problems. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask in class. Thanks.